In this video, I'm gonna show you 12 different budget modifications that will cost you just a little but will make a big difference in your riding comfort and safety. Also, they are more or less universal, so you can apply them to almost any motorcycle. So if you have nothing to do, grab your favorite drink and stay with me. Welcome back. What always amazes me is that most of people believe that if they spend more money on their motorcycles, they will have a better adventures. Well, it does not work like that. You can travel on a budget and still have great adventures, or spend millions and have nothing. Adventure is a state of mind and it has nothing to do with money. Don't get me wrong, money is important. You cannot travel without it. But you don't need that much. You don't need to pay this extra amount believing that you're gonna have a better adventures, because it is not guaranteed that you're gonna have anything at all. All of my trips, at least 99% of my trips, were made on budget. And do you really believe that I did not enjoy that much because I don't have an expensive motorcycle and a lot of money to cover my adventure trips? No, absolutely not. That's why I said, adventure is a state of mind and has nothing to do with money. Alright, enough talks. In the following few minutes I'm gonna list 12 different budget modifications as I promised. I'm gonna use my motorcycle Tenere 700, but because the modifications are more or less universal, you can apply them to almost any brand and model. So let's begin. I'm gonna list them randomly. It doesn't mean that just because it's number 1 is so important or number 12 is not important. No, I'm just walking around the bike and show you everything as it is. Number 1 is going to be this heated grips cover. So if you have Oxford grips like me, and if you use them a lot, you know that the grip of this Oxford wear very fast, especially if you use it all the time, like me. Almost every time when I have the temperatures below 20 degrees, I use them. So when they worn a little bit, they start to stick on your hands. They became like a glue. And these covers on the top cost only €2 to buy them from AliExpress, for example. Put it on the top of your existing grips, use a heated gun for 2-3 minutes and you're ready to go. And they're all protected, they look like new. And if they wear once again, I can change them again for €2 and have a nice grips without this sticky material that I usually have with Oxford grips. Number 2 are these neoprene socks from Acerbis. I used to think differently about these things, but my mechanic plumber convinced me that with this you protect your motorcycles way better than without it. Before that, I always believing that they just collect the dust and water and keep it inside, and this will wear your forks faster, but in reality it's exactly the opposite. It keeps all the dust outside. Yes, they collect water when it's rained, for example, but they dry very quickly when the rain stops. But when they protect it from the dust, from mud and everything, they protect actually the dust and oil seals that you have inside. Without them, when you're riding in muddy conditions, all the mud stick to the forks, to the shiny part of the forks, and when it's dry, it became like concrete. And when your forks are moving ups and down, these small pieces of sand or mud that becomes like concrete actually destroy your dust seals, and that's why the forks usually start to leak. So before that, I was repairing my forks at least once per year. Now, since I have it on the old Tenere and this Tenere, nothing at all stops. So I highly recommend this stuff. It's cost like €17, not that much, but will definitely save you a lot of money from fork maintenance. Number 3 is headlight protector, like the one I have from plastic. Depends on the model, you can have different shape, different sizes and a little bit different prices, but more or less the principle is the same. This headlight protector will protect my headlight. So the protector costs around €20. The headlight on my Tenere costs around €800. So any big stone or piece of wood or metal could destroy it, but not when you have one of these. There is another one option from metal, like a bar here. But I like this more because it's clear, it does not stop any light to go through. The bar will at least stop, let's say, 10-50% of the light, and when you get some mud it's stuck on it. This one you can wash it, so I like this the more. You might say, Pavlin, stones on the headlight, I don't think that it will ever happen. Well, have a look at this. This is a stone on my protector here. See the hole? It went like a bullet. Boom! If this was here, it will definitely cost me 800 euros. Next on the list is this disc lock bracket. It has the letter L shape, and as you can see, I mounted here on the forks. So if you travel, especially abroad, you definitely need something to protect your motorcycle, and that's why I highly recommend to each and every one of you to have a disc lock. This one is from ABUS Granit 68 Victory X Plus. When I don't ride, it's on the disc. When I ride, it is there. And you need a bracket to hold it. It's not something that it's so difficult to make. You can make it by yourself, but it has a rubber here that's actually stopping from knocking all the time. So if you have some kind of rubber, if you can make it, make it. If not, it costs like 20 euros, not so cheap. But as I said, it is very, very useful because this disc lock is heavy. So it is too heavy to keep it in my pockets, too heavy to keep it in my tank bag. So yeah, I can have it in my saddlebag, but there are days when I decided to leave the saddlebag in the hotel and go and ride around, and I'm not gonna have my disc lock with me if I need to lock the motorcycle. I used to keep it here on a lower center of gravity position on the passenger pack, but when you ride in muddy days, it all goes in, all the water and all mud, and after a few days the lock actually jam with mud, so I cannot use it anymore. I have to remove it and clean it. And on my way back from Russia, I actually lost it because I haven't seen it. The bracket was get loose, and on some stage I lost it without even seeing it. So that's why I believe that here is a better position, and decided to mount it here. And also it has this cover that I use like this. So when I travel, it's like that. It's protected from the mud. And every time when I need it, I just remove it, unlock it, put it on my disc. And when it's not on my disc, it will stay here. Easy job. Number 5, GPS holder. The brand of this is GYB. I bought it from AliExpress for around 20 euros. It's made from aluminum. You'll need some kind of hardware to mount it to your motorcycle, depends on the model. But it has a perfect function here. I can put my telephone inside, just lock it like that and use it as a navigator. So people spending like $500, $600, $700, $800 for a proper GPS units, they cost a lot, they need a lot of brackets and stuff like that. But this is only 20 euros and you can use one of your old telephones, as I do, to navigate you just fine every time when you need it. There are many different options and solutions. I like this very much because it's very solid. And some people say that it hasn't got any dampers and stuff like that, and it will ruin the camera of your telephone. But as I said, this is my spare telephone. It is made exactly for this. I never use the camera. The applications that I've got inside are only two, like it was Google Maps and Yandex. That's it. So I don't worry about the telephone. If it breaks, that's it. But it's very solid mount made from aluminum, cannot fall from here. You'll destroy the motorcycle, but you cannot destroy that. That's why I like it so much. Number 6, buy a proper food packs. This one I bought from AliExpress, again cost me like 20 euros. They're perfectly fine, quality is good enough. They passed immediately, I don't need to change anything. And you can see what is the difference with the original packs. They are much wider, much more stable, especially if you plan to have many hours standing on the packs. This will be a necessary modification for you. Number 7 is this chain guard. And many people don't know what exactly it's for, but I'm gonna explain you as simple as possible. If you ride outside of asphalt roads, especially in the wood, and you have a big branch that could go between the chain and the sprocket here, it will actually remove the chain from the sprocket, and I don't need to explain you what the result will be. So this chain guard will prevent that problem. It cost me 15 euro from AliExpress again. Number 8 is to put a wire on the pins that you have on your brake pads. Like this one here. This is very important. If you lose it, you cannot lock the brakes. So usually on my trips, because they're long, I need to change 2-3 sets of brake pads. The year usually finished around 10,000 kilometers with my style of riding. So once I lost the pin, it took me like 2 hours to find it. It was like a gravel road. It took me 2 hours to find it. I almost gave up and was thinking about a different solution, to put a nail here or something to keep riding. And since this moment, I always have a wire on it and I cannot lose it. I still plan to wire the front too as well, because it also has the wiring, these pins here. And I'm gonna do it because I already lost one of these pins somewhere, I don't know where. So I plan to wire them as well. It cost me nothing, zero. Number 9 is spare clutch cable. To have it on your motorcycle already rerouted under the tank and ready to be swapped in just 10 minutes. I don't need to explain you how important this is. If you cut your clutch in the middle of the road, as I said, only 10 minutes and you're good to go. You should have a spare anyway, but instead of wondering where to put it on your motorcycle. It will cost you nothing and will be always there when you need it. Of course, if you have a hydraulic pump for clutching, you don't need this stuff. And many people will swear that pump is way better. Yes, I will agree, it's very soft, it's very easy to operate with pump, but my clutch is not hard anyway. And I do believe that with the clutch cable, you'll be way better if something goes wrong. Once on one of my dirt bikes, I had a hydraulic pumps that stopped working in the middle of nowhere, and I was not able to repair it. So I continued riding like 25-30 kilometers without any clutch, because I need to replace it. That's why I believe that clutch cable is much better solution, especially if you ride in remote areas. Number 10 are these air pressure valves that you can mount on the top of your forks. There is a small screw, you remove the screw and mount these valves. And every time when your motorcycle is on center stand, there is no pressure on the forks, you can press on the top and it will release the pressure that it creates inside. Because when the motorcycle is moving, when all the elements inside are moving ups and down, they create some kind of pressure, and it is good to have this valve to release it time to time. Otherwise the pressure needs to go from somewhere, maybe from the seals or from a different place. It's happened very rare, but if you ride it very hard, especially motocross bikes, they tend even to explode the forks because they don't have pressure. That's why it's something that costs 4 euros, but it is good to have. Number 11 is this 3D mesh. One of the best investments that I ever made. Only 4 euros, but it makes a huge difference in my riding comfort. I cannot stress it enough how better this is. It protects from the rain, it creates some kind of air gap between the seat and your ass, and it really works. And as I said, only 4 euros from AliExpress. One tip from me, buy it on meter, not on specific model. If you want to buy this piece for Tenere 700, it will cost you 20-30 euros. If you buy a big piece for another model or just on meters, it will cost you 4 euros. So change it and you can thank me later. And the last on the list, number 12, is to have a wire between your rear brake and the engine guard, this one here. And many believe that this is here to protect your rear brake to bend if you go down. No, absolutely not. This is to protect a big branch or tall grass to go between the pedal and the engine guard and stuck there. Let me demonstrate it to you. It's a little bit hard with one hand, but I'm sure I will make it. Like this. See, now it locks the brake in far bottom position, which is mean that you will fall down. This has happened with me once, many years ago, with my dirt bike. The branch went inside, I fell down and I couldn't understand why. So I jump again, straightened the bike and start going again, then just to realize that my rear was blocked because of a big branch here. It is happening very often, especially if you ride in big grass or forest where a lot of branches are around. And this simple modification that costs nothing, just a few dollars from a local hardware store, will protect it. Since this moment I have had it, I always have it on all of my motorcycles. Of course, there are many more modifications that I have made and they're very practical, they're all useful. I never do anything without any purpose, just for facelift or something like that. But they're not that cheap, and because the video was about budget modifications, videos about the rest of the modifications, I have at least a few on the channel. But if you still want to do something new, just let me know in the comment section below and I will do it. All modifications altogether cost me 127 euros. As you can see, the total price of everything is less than a tall windscreen or top box, for example, and they will be way more effective in terms of protection, comfort, and everything that you need when you travel, especially when you travel on long trips. The final decision on what or where to spend your money is of course yours. Press like or dislike, whatever this video deserves. If you subscribe, even better. See you in the next one. Ciao.